Alright, now here's your research for the day for the 11-game NBA slate for the day. As we usually do, we come here, it is 25th. This is on DraftKings for the NBA, of course. So you can look to today's projections and just filter out what you don't want, as I want something greater than, at least for a projection for the day, greater than 24 minutes to close out some of those opportunities for players getting into my lineups. I want to make sure I get a floor of safe plays as the theme of my video for today. Above average there will be fine. Fantasy points per minute, we can get filtered here up to around 1. So you see the top plays anyway are doing well over 1 fantasy point per minute. So I'm going to go 0.99, make sure I get players that are at least 1 fantasy point per minute. Moving on also as well, I want to get into the actual fantasy stats instead of just the projected only to rely on that. Since this is the projection area here, column of green. And now we want to look over to who's hot over the last X amount of games, 3-game value, 3-game fantasy points. We can look at things like that. But probably more importantly here, still sorting out 3-game minutes over the last 3 games. I want to get to a little bit higher. So let's go over 25 minutes here. So we can kind of sort and feel our list getting lower. As we kind of scroll down, there are still a lot of players and plays. I like to get this to my goal. It's actually to around 20 players, as I kind of feel is a magic number. So then I also look to the consistency, the actual hitting X value over the past. Overall, it's based on salary. So let's look at going here. Really more than above average. So let's go greater than. And if you want to get an idea of what number to really go with, just kind of look here at the top and pick maybe around the lowest number, 61%. Maybe even go a little bit lower than that. I'm going to go about 59% at least to sort and filter my players. Okay, so those players will come off the list completely, of course, because it's getting shorter here, more towards where we want it. We want to get also more peripherals in here, some more fancy points that are backed up by actual stats, perhaps that we can use, because we're not even getting into points, 3-pointers, assists, rebounds, and so on, because we just haven't gotten into that part of the game yet. As an easy way to see per player, you can come over to Sportsline. To just, another easy way to see it, the daily fantasy values, DFS values right here. And it'll take you to choose your sport and look at the values for that particular one. DraftKings we're on right now. You can do the same on FanDuel, of course, on that site. So it's not up yet as it's 6:20 a.m. So we can check back at that later. And then, all throughout the day, you have to look to getting to where you want to be on these slates here with using all these tools, of course, such as the breaking news feed. Maybe actually start with the players' notes and players' picks as it updates throughout the day using the Google spreadsheets. I want to check this out. Donuts to dollars, I really have not honestly yet. See how that can help. And of course, the NBA staff, which can direct you to their Slack chat, as I personally cannot be available all day at all. So the coaching and feedback is definitely there for you. You can ask questions. You can get advice on the lineups that you have set, see if they're good. You can get into down here the simulation model, the X amount of times the games were simulated to get a kind of a lower and higher feel of games and, playing values in tournaments and so on, cash games. So you can really an excellent tool to use for tournaments to try to win much bigger money than just really a few dollars. Let's say per every $10 you spend or something like that. So you can really increase your upside and give you a chance to win thousands of dollars. So we want to look at here next. This is interesting. The yellow section, past games versus opponent. We can look at that in the last three. If you want to narrow that down, it can be an important stat, but not necessarily, as things differ in the amount of games and so forth. But getting more to the stats, let's look at something over here. Pace of play is also important, but it's just something I more so just put in descending order and look at and try to see which players in a lower or higher pace game. As this information will come out also as well in the article section, NBA that is. When you look at those, the information will come out to make sure you're aware of that, which is helpful. The full season stats, let's see. This is actually a good idea to improve my game professionally here as well. And if DFS fantasy basketball industry is to make sure I'm getting enough of these stats for every player, as I want to sort per some peripherals here. I want to get, let's see, guys that they're not greater than 43% shooting percentage. Okay. I also want to get guys in here who are maybe having an overall game. You can't really rule out guys that don't get a lot of assists, because then you're taking out guys like Andre Drummond, for example, LaMarcus Aldridge, Julius Randle, that are really good guys to keep in your lineups despite not getting all that sort of peripheral. But let's see what else we can come up with here that are applicable to all positions. Let's see. Because really there are just not too many that you can do that with. I noticed in other sports you can, but not really so much in the NBA, because there are certain types of players, as I mentioned. Centers will not get all the assists and things like that, and won't get the three-pointers. And guards won't really probably get the rebounds, as I see here. In the rebounds category, let's see. Oh, it's order in, sorry, offensive and defensive rebounds. It appears here you could go with and still include the guards. You can just take a peek and see that the guys being eliminated, if you go, for example, greater than 2.9 would be Jordan Clarkson and Dwayne Wade. Sorted out of this particular. So that's not a bad way to go. Now that I'm looking at it here, we could do that. Let's say greater than 2.7 defensive rebounds per game. Okay. So we eliminated just a few players. But now to get it narrowed down to where we want it, we need to get a little bit less. So we get a little bit more restrictive, a little bit more safe. So we can use these cash players here. We will need to get to the last category that I like to eliminate some players. Usage. So the usage on the team, of course, that they get the ball, that they make assists, they get rebounds, things like that, includes everything you need. So let's go greater than, pick a number, 24%, see what happens. We'll eliminate some of these guys. Okay? So I just want to get an idea of how many players we're going to fit right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 players fit on the screen, with Fox being the last one. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So right where I wanted to be. as these are my cash game plays of the day. You can sort them in overall value if you want. Like this is the AND1 formula they use, sort descending, as it accounts for value and all the things, fantasy points, projections, from Harden all the way down to Blake Griffin. These players are, of course, safe, and I'm noticing here the least expensive of those is actually Dwayne Wade, interestingly. So try to get him into your lineups today as a safe, lower cost cash play. Thank you for watching. Now enjoy the NBA slate, full slate for today. Get excited, all right? Make sure you do 3 things out of the day here. Number 1, get excited. Number 2, get excited. And the third, get excited. Take care.